Hello, everyone.
Hello, darlings, and everyone watching the Sligo Chess Tournament. We are here commentating the 2024 Sligo Chess Tournament. Hello, everyone. Well, I guess we have Patrick here. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
We have Gianna here. If you would like to introduce yourself. No, we're not the main actors here.
Yes.
The tournament is the focus. There's not much to say about me anyway. So there we go.
Okay,
games have already started.
So the games have already started. Yes.
Some people seem to be alone at the board. For example, board 9 and board 8. One move has been played by white. Black seems to be absent. We hope everything's going to go well with the broadcasts. But so far it's looking good.
Yes, we don't have a live cam at the moment, but we will have one hopefully tomorrow. There's a problem with the camera. So also we are waiting on the other links. We currently are watching the challenger sections. So we'll put a command where you can also follow the games live. And if you have any requests where you would like to follow a game, you can write it in chat.
We have a King's Gambit already on the board. Very exciting stuff. Board 16. We can start with the very exciting stuff.
Okay, yes.
Sorry, I'm just getting right into the chess. No time wasted.
Okay, so you can start us off. What do you know about the King's Gambit?
I don't know much about the King's Gambit, I'll be honest. I like playing the sort of Vienna setup instead, where you play knight c3 first. Before you try to get a 4 in. A little bit more solid of a variation. If they allow the Vienna Gambit and if they accept it, that's very good for white.
So how does it usually go?
Well, okay, I personally play the bishop's opening variant, but it's a little bit different. But in this way, here you start, and then they play knight f6, and then you can play f4 here. That would be one way to do things. And now taking is really bad because then you play e5 and you're basically almost winning as well.
Simple chess.
Okay, simple chess. Like, okay, you're going to push e5, the knight will have to go back because there's no good squares. The queen covers all the key
So let's
squares.
just look here. Where can the knight go? So if the knight goes here, the other knight is covering this square. Also, what we're looking at the moment is a different opening against the king's pawn opening here. So usually there are two main openings, which is e4, or sometimes people play d4. I guess there's also others, but these are the main two. And in this opening, white played e4, and his opponent replied with e5, which is one of the main moves against the center pawn.
Yeah, very classical. One of the earliest analyzed openings as well. We're going to get into chess history a little bit. We could go into the maybe most common of all chess openings, the Ruy Lopez from here, the Spanish opening. One of the first ones that was analyzed by some Spanish priest or something like that.
Okay, so the Spanish opening is here, bishop e5. But here we are looking at the King's Gambit. And what does a gambit mean? Patrick?
Well, a gambit is when you give up a pawn in the opening. And here, black can just take the pawn on f4.
So a gambit is not necessarily just giving up a pawn. It's just
giving up material, yeah. I guess. You could also gambit a piece. But...
Okay, so if black takes it, what is the problem?
Well, there's no problem per se. White wants to get control of the center. That's sort of the goal. I guess white has the problem that white can't get the pawn back immediately. Usually you play knight f3. Okay. And then black can play g5. That's the way to keep the pawn. That's the most ambitious and also best way to play. And then there's many lines in which white is actually just trying to develop quickly. And sometimes you castle kingside, sometimes you don't castle at all. Sometimes you play like king f1 in the end, and you break with h4 and try to undermine the structure. Anyway, white is trying to get some activity of the pieces. So there you can see that white has one piece developed, his knight, whereas black doesn't have any pieces developed yet. Black has made two pawn moves, and then white is trying to get control of the center of the central squares and activity for their pieces, meaning to get the pieces on, out of the back rank as quickly as possible, and then we're going to try to attack and run over black. And we gave up a pawn to do it, so later in the game we might be in trouble if we don't get anything back for the pawn.
Okay, so I guess when you play gambit openings, the idea is that you're happy for your opponent to take because you get something in return. So in this case, you get center control, and this pawn is going to be hard to be protected. And if black decides to try and protect it and use up their time to protect the pawn, it will give white nice control of the center, and also you can attack this pawn. So Patrick was mentioning earlier that you can play h4 to attack the pawn, and then you're putting pressure here, which then will lead this pawn to be weaker. So if we go back to the actual game, his opponent didn't take it. It's kind of scary to play against this because it's not a common opening to face, and if you don't know your theory, it's a little bit stressful to deal with having lack of control of the center. Oh, he did take it.
Yeah, he did take it.
Oh, right, sorry. Oh, he did take it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
He took it. Okay, sorry.
Definitely the best way to play as well. Yeah.
So, okay, he took it. And now knight of 3, what we were talking about earlier. So now we have to see, will he protect his pawn? Also, I'm curious to know, the rounds were up before the game. So I'm curious to know if they prepared and if he was prepared for the King's Gambit.
Definitely interesting. That's definitely going to happen a lot in the higher section, where it's easier to look up games that were previously played. In the challenger section, often people won't have many games in any databases or anything. So maybe it's definitely going to be a big factor in the games in the Masters section, for example. And so we're going to have to talk a lot about that there. I'm not sure if these players, some of them are surely on their first tournament, so this is always an exciting thing.
Could be. So the challengers, is this the bottom section?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the bottom section. Do we have their ratings?
So most people are unrated. There's actually only 2 people with a rating. 5th seed David Emo and 8th seed George White have ratings, and according to what I'm seeing on chess results, at least they don't have a FIDE rating. It doesn't show as Irish ratings on the chess results page, but at least they don't have a FIDE rating yet, which means, either they haven't, likely they haven't played a FIDE rated tournament. They might not have played, they might have played Irish tournaments before. Actually, I guess we can look on the ICU site where there should maybe be ratings. Yeah, actually, a lot of them do have ratings.
Yeah, here
Irish
they're
ratings.
also here.
Oh, okay.
So almost all of them are rated. So yeah, the highest rated person here is 1179. Also, we haven't been paying so much attention to the chat. So, chat, hello. Hello, Zabel. Hello, TJ. Halvard. Hello, everyone. This is a little bit more professional than you're used to. THT.
We're always professional.
Smarts guy, hello. But also we have a question, the time control. So the time control is an hour and a half plus 30 seconds on the clock. So plenty of time.
Also, chess questions already coming in. Can Patrick explain the double peace sack line in the Museo, please? Which, if I'm going to be honest, I have no idea what you're talking about. So you're going to have to be a little bit more specific. Or I guess that's very specific, but you're going to have to use lines instead of giving me opening names, because that's going to be hard.
Okay, so what was played here? He actually did protect it with g5, and then white played h4. So white knows his stuff. Also, this is board which? So I guess here it's Oscar against Dara. Let's see if I can find
16. I guess.
Okay.
70.
Okay, so that is not.
Maybe not. Okay. Well, Maybe the math works different.
Is this the?
Wait, hold on. Let's see.
Is this the challengers?
Maybe they mislabeled it. Wait, so oh no, but David Mo, I recognize the name. That's definitely challenger section. Right. Okay. Let's control F it. What are the names?
There. Oh, the
Oscar.
we have.
Oh, it's port 69. 69.
Yeah, but yeah, we have it. Okay, so actually, Dara is unrated and Oscar is 978 rated.
Is Dara? Is that a male name or? I always struggle with Irish names.
Well, I mean, you can also. It's probably a male, but you can also. Dara is also a girl's name.
It looks kind of like it could be both. Yeah.
Okay, would you check Rory versus Beatty? Yeah, the only thing is we don't have.
Well, actually, let me check. Maybe we got it by now.
I don't have the. We only have the challengers links at the moment, but.
Oh, okay. I think we got it now.
We got. Yes, we have the Masters. Okay, perfect. We've got the Masters games. So this was challengers.
Brilliant.
Okay.
And here, there's some very exciting players. So up and coming players, established GMs. So this is going to be an exciting one for sure. Oh, this is fancy. Okay. So do we want to continue taking a look?
Oh, is it? Okay, so this is this a girl who's playing?
Okay.
Is Dara?
Well, I guess it's not that important. Just a matter of interest, I suppose. Also, about the King's Gambit game, I was going to bring up this recent game. If anybody who was following Tata Steel, there was a very exciting King's Gambit game in that tournament between Aline Rubers and Liam Vrolik. You saw that. If you didn't see that yet, definitely, if you're interested, check it out. That was very entertaining. Alina had at some point 5 pawns.
Look at this
on the 5th line. This I was going to say that. Is he trolling? What is happening here?
Okay, so
he also played one F4. So
this is board 1 of the master section. So highest rated player we have Daniel Gormley, and so the top 3 we have Daniel Gormley, who is a grandmaster, Oleg, and Jonathan Payne, who recently got his FIDE master title. We have
and he was last year's winner, so returning to try to defend his title. So we'll see if he can manage that. Actually,
what is this opening? So the bird, and actually there are no games. There are no games in the data.
Nobody plays F6 here.
F6, interesting, very interesting. Do we have any idea? So this must be prep. This must be preparation. I would like to hear.
No.
This must be preparation.
This can't be preparation. F6 is definitely bad. There's no way.
It's bad, but probably he prepared something because he wouldn't play this on the board.
Interesting fact about this is because Lukian is a Stonewall player. I've played him, and he's a Stonewall player. So he likes to play this kind of F-pawn position. So Daniel, he's playing F4. That kind of leads into positions that you often get with black. So if we want to put it on the board, like, for example, if white would play D4, and then black answers with F5, then you get sort of these kind of positions that you get with white. Now just a tempo up. So basically, you are playing the black side of this opening with an extra move. If you play F4, at least that's what you're ready to do. And it's kind of, an opening that's, lends itself to very aggressive players. If you play it with white, because you can get very quick attacks on the king side if you open this way. So it's definitely very interesting. In F6, I don't know. It's a very interesting approach. I mean, I've never seen it, usually for good reason. I guess it's a little bit less dangerous when your opponent has played F5, maybe. But usually it's just very dangerous to open this diagonal towards your king.
Yes, it's very strange. I mean, he's preparing e5. That would make sense, and then maybe he wants to take with the f pawn knight out. So he might want to do that.
That's true. I just don't believe that you would take here as white ever, probably. But okay.
Yeah, maybe not.
We'll see. We'll see. Definitely an interesting thing.
Well, if you play f6, I don't know if you're preparing. Are you preparing
Listen,
g6?
another thing is actually maybe. Do we know if he plays f4 a lot? Surely, I mean, he's a GM. He doesn't play f4 all the time, so it's going to be hard to, if you say it's prep, but like it's going to be hard to be prep for f4.
Yeah.
Generally, and you definitely, if somebody plays the Dutch, you're not going to play f3 against them like this.
Wait, we already have. Wait a second.
Nope.
Oh, no, surely not. I think maybe they drew or something. Well, there's a result already there, but this is the bottom board of the Masters, board 11.
Some broadcast issue there.
Is this definitely the right board? I'm not sure. Well, if the boards are incorrect, then that would make more sense.
It would make sense if this was the no,
it would make
joking, but
it would make more sense.
But I'm saying the other games, they look like openings that are quite sensible. So it definitely would make sense that this is the master section. Judging by the other games, look fairly theoretical. Even that last game, it was kind of a Queen's Indian type of position against a Catalan setup. Yeah, these are definitely lots of Catalan types of positions. This must be the the Masters.
Azush, yes, this is Ross versus Rory Quinn. Okay, so let's see what happened here. Ross Beatty is someone that I have often faced growing up. We're in the same age category.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. That's so maybe he's a year younger, but we always played in the same junior section. So I faced him many times, and I know he always plays the French. We actually have some games in the French. So.
And do you play the King's Indian attack against him? Has been treated to that
pleasure? I've played that against all the juniors when I was young. Hello, Pawn versus Strayer. And hey, Senti as well. And
super serious commentator. That's us.
So let's see what happened here. So we have
somebody's
classical French.
Somebody's saying Lukian's game might have been an error, and I can see that happening because, as I said, he's a Stonewall player. So f4, f5 is a thing you can do, although it's still a bit dangerous.
Also, wait. I will. Do you want to make a command with the Masters link so that they can follow the games live? So we will pin the Masters games to the comments. Well, not only the Masters, but we'll pin all of them. And if you have any games that you want to analyze, you can let us know. So this is Ross against Rory. Okay, so up until here, I guess this is all normal. And here the knight is pinned.
What do they call it? Games? Or...
So the knight is pinned, and well, yeah, I guess he's threatening to take it. So the only, well, not the only response, he can also take here intermediately with check, and then the pawn would take. And then you have to do something against this, so h6 would come after that. So anyway, he decided to play h6 now, which is normal. I guess it's the main move. And then the bishop went out of the way. Okay, the bishop went back to c1. Interesting. I would think that maybe bishop d2 would make more sense, but maybe he still wants to protect his pawn with the queen. But he obviously has prepared this. So bishop c1. Interesting. I haven't seen this before. Okay, and now knight in the center. Well, he had to move his knight, and he's also putting pressure here. It's also a move, yeah. I guess I can see, yeah, it's also a move. I guess it's the third most played move. I just haven't Well, I haven't seen many games in this, but I also have not seen bishop c1. So this is the first time. Okay, so knight out. Well, knight to e4, putting more pressure here. And now, okay, now white has played queen g4, putting pressure on g7. So ignoring this threat, ignoring knight takes knight and after pawn takes bishop takes. So he's ignoring the threat of, well, maybe even losing a rook because he's gonna take on g7. So here,
yeah, very sharp opening.
Yeah, here black needs to be careful. So the possible moves are g6, g5, king f8. He decided to play king f8. Okay, now white kicked the bishop, so the bishop is attacked. He took. It's check, pawn has to take. And now black played c5, which is one of the main moves and ideas in the French to attack back in the center.
And I guess it's very dangerous to take the c3 pawn. You're going to lose a lot of time. It's also not a very crucial pawn. It's going to give white loads of initiative after, let's say, bishop e3, just knight f3 castles, and then you're gonna probably be in trouble, or maybe knight e2 even afterwards. And you can see that white has loads of development. The knight is a bit stranded, and black's queen side is sleeping. So
yeah, and this knight, it doesn't have anywhere good to go back to. It can't even go back to b5. It can only go to a4, and after that, back to b6. So this knight is a little bit misplaced here. And white can then also develop with tempo and gaining another move.
Yeah.
So we have another sort of gambit.
Yeah.
Because you get development back in return.
Oh, for sure. And that's a nice kind of aggressive line, definitely very sharp, as it often is in this type of French. The knight c3 kind of variations.
Okay.
Very theoretical and very sharp.
Let's have a look on board 3, where one of our own darlings are playing. Gavin Sheehan. Most of you will know him as Mr. G, who helped us promote in the Bundesliga battle yesterday. So Mr. G is playing against the reigning champion of the Sligo tournament. Last year he won it. Last year he was CM. This year he is FM. So
got a promotion after winning the tournament. Maybe this is a sign of things to come for Sligo. Maybe it's going to produce some more title upgrades.
Yeah. So let's see what happens. So e4, another French. We see another French. I think we're going to see a lot of French anyway in general. I've noticed a lot of Irish players play the French. I haven't faced it more than... where can you see all the live boards? Well, so if you click on... wait, is this just the Masters?
No, so...
Add Games Masters. Oh, so games. Just... Okay, if you put exclam
games.
If you write games. Here you go. You can see all of them. I'll pin it to the comments so you can see all the live boards over there. Are the majors? We have the majors as well. Yeah. Okay, yes, we have everything. So we have the majors, challengers. Okay, so let me just see board 1 again. I'm just going to check if that is actually board 1 of the Masters.
It's also not producing any more moves, so it's going to make us more likely to think that we will be maybe seeing a correction here. Would of course be a little bit tragic if we can't figure it out. Actually, let me just quickly check the other link, the chess cloud link, because leeches can sometimes get a little bit messed up, and then we're going to have to so I'll just check on the chess cloud if it's going to be updating. No, it's not updating here either. It's also weird because it says black's time is running, but black was the last person to make a move. So at least here on the chess cloud side. So that points. Oh, it just got taken back now. Okay, so maybe we'll get this updated. It doesn't look like f6 was played, which makes a lot of sense because that's really not a good move. Nothing you want to mess with, especially against the gem. That's the way to lose in 15 moves against the gem.
Okay, so this is not showing anything.
Okay.
Okay, so
is this the major?
I think this is the major, maybe. Okay.
Major with an
O. Okay, so the challengers are here.
Oh yeah, I can't even see any games here.
Okay, so this is the King's Gambit opening, yeah, that we were seeing earlier. So black actually played d6. He didn't try to hold on to the pawn. And now white replied with d3, attacking it with the bishop. But
yeah.
yeah, so here, I guess if you want to take the pawn back with the bishop, the most aggressive move, or I guess the one that controls the center most, would be d4. If you ever get the chance to get these two pawns in the center, that would be great.
And that is sort of the whole idea behind.
Oh, Danny Gormley withdrew from the event. Oh, okay.
Really?
Interesting. Our first breaking news.
Oh no, that's very unfortunate.
Dun dun dun. The only GM of the event has decided to withdraw.
Maybe, yeah. Scared of all the good competition.
Interesting.
Or maybe hopefully no bad health reasons or anything like that. We can only hope. But yeah, about the King's Gambit here, definitely what you want is to play d4. Not only does it control the center, if we look at d3 for a second, not only does it not develop the center, it's kind of, you could say it defends your e4 pawn, but it doesn't really need defense for now. And as Diana was pointing out already, it blocks off your bishop, so it's going to make it very difficult to develop. And your whole idea with the King's Gambit is to get fast development.
Yeah, especially since you give away a pawn.
Yeah, and you're sort of mixing ideas this way. And generally, you want your pieces to have as much space as possible in any opening, but especially in this kind of opening.
Yeah, so...
But okay, since black doesn't defend with g5, then it's probably still fine for white. I mean, you can play bishop d2, and then...
h4, and then just keep going with g4. And holding on to the pawn, because white didn't take advantage here, and I mean, black can afford to hold on to the pawn a little bit longer, because there's no bishop c4, I guess.
This looks very unpleasant.
For white?
For white, yeah.
Yeah, it does look unpleasant.
Zero development, pawn down, king is in a weird place. You don't want to have this.
Hilenier Dominguez, the tournament! A bit early! A little bit early on, first round.
For the round one Dominguez, okay. Yeah, I don't know.
For those of you that don't get the reference, there was tournaments like, sorry, not Sligo, Sitges, very strong open. I was also playing there, and we had Hilenier Dominguez, who is number 7 in the world, I think. Anyway, well, he's in the top 10 at least. But he...
Right, now
okay, now he's 10. Now he's 10.
Yeah, but he recently got overtaken by Wei Yi at least, and also by Farouja. So he was, I guess, 8th at the time. Yeah,
so he was, well, I guess still top 10, 8th. And he, after
Sorry,
round
actually,
4...
in fact, he was also overtaken by Anish, I think. So actually, he was 7th.
Okay,
so
yeah.
Good memory.
So he was 7th, and he, I think round maybe 6 or 5, he finished on 4, I think. He withdrew. Actually, we finished on the same points in Sitges. But he withdrew early on because he had played that to get into the candidates. And yes, and he it was a tough tournament. He wasn't doing so well, so he decided to withdraw. But here, I guess.
Very interestingly, at least as well, because he could have still made the necessary rating if he had won all his remaining games. So very strange decision to go all the way to Spain to try to play for a spot and then to give up when it's still theoretically possible to make it. And well, as we all know, Ferrugia in the end got the spot under contentious circumstances. Well, I guess not so contentious in the end.
No, that one didn't count.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, the majors broadcasts aren't working. Let me just double check that.
Yeah, so we're having some slight technical difficulties, but that's to be expected. At least we have the Masters. Now, actually, one thing I was thinking about is if Danny Gormali didn't show up, how did we get this brilliant opening on the board? Were people just making moves, messing around, trying to troll the broadcast, I wonder? Or how that happened, we're not sure. Okay,
let's have a look at board 2. So we have Jared McElliott against Oleg, who is an international master, and I guess now the top seed in the tournament. So, do we have another French? No, we don't. We have the English opening. Okay, so C4. I've played actually this against him before against Jared McElliott, and actually he plays the French with against E4. So we'll see it. We'll be seeing a French.
His name is Gerard, so that makes a lot of sense.
Jared.
Yeah, I know, but Gerard. Oh. It sounds very French to me, to my ears.
Famously Meg.
Well, not Meg Elliott or Elliott or however you pronounce it, but okay, let's see.
Okay, so Bishop G2. Sorry. Okay, so anyway, this is fianchettoing the bishop. We're also going to. Oh, board 1 and 2 are not alive. 1 and 2. Wait, let me just check something. Okay, so actually, wait, is this the right one? No, the majors, none of them are live. Okay, I was just checking something. So sorry. Okay.
All right. Okay. So this is definitely an opening you know more about than me. Although I have played the Catalan, so if there was a pawn on d4, that would be a little bit different. But
yeah. So I mean, I guess this is a more solid opening choice, and you can't really pose many problems.
This is actually an interesting one.
E5 at the start. Yeah.
This is actually an interesting one because if you play d4 in that position after c6, now you get into what I really like, that kind of Catalan that I really like, where black goes sort of for the, I don't know, some call it the triangle formation, some call it the Christmas tree formation. I've heard all sorts of names for that, but yeah, this is something that if white plays like this, usually they place their queen on the c2 square, after castling, of course, but let's say eventually they put the queen on c2, and then they try to play e4. But yeah, you can look at the game if you want to.
Yeah, wait, let's just, okay, so we'll just look at this, but I'm just seeing down here on the right-hand side, we already have an end
Some
game.
Some people are racing.
We're only 10 minutes into the, sorry, we're 41 minutes, we're 41 minutes into the round, but already we have an end game.
Still quite speedy. Also,
very quick.
This end game looks like somebody's down a piece, no? Am I crazy?
Yes, so we'll go into that end game in a second. I just want to go through the rest of this game first. So, white castled, guess it makes sense. So when you put your bishop here, it's called fianchettoing your bishop when you put it into this little hat. And this bishop later on in the game can open up in this diagonal, and your king is very safe here. So that's the reason why you have this setup.
Yeah, and that's also one of the reasons why black plays like this with the c6 pawn, trying to create a very stable center that's not easily attacked by the bishop. So the bishop is trying to get neutralized by the strong pawn center. Yeah, and eventually white is going to try to break it down by putting more pressure with e4, for example.
Yeah, so d4 was played, black castled, and this is just what you were talking about.
Yeah, okay. So we basically transitioned into that kind of position, yeah.
Okay, okay, white developed their knight. I guess, why do you move your knight to d2 and not c3?
Well, if you go here, and then you can play d takes c4, and it's not so 100% comfortable. And the knight does the same job it does on c3, on c2 as well, on d2 as well, because you just wanted to control e4, and then you're going to trade it for the f6 knight, basically, no matter what. So you're going to play e4 at some point, then they're going to take on e4, and then you're going to play knight takes e4, knight takes e4, queen takes e4. And often they're going to have another knight on d7, they're going to play knight f6, and you can go back to c2 or e2.
Okay, so, and this is actually what happened. So b6 to develop the bishop. I guess maybe he wants to bring it here on this diagonal. So white played e4, he broke in the center. This is where all his pieces are looking. His bishop as well. And yeah, black developed his bishop to a6, getting on this diagonal, also pinning this pawn. He cannot take here. Rook d1, going outside of the pin. So now this pawn is free to move. Knight developed, and now...
Okay, so he went for a kind of variation where you don't take on e4, which is also an interesting way to play. Definitely also a way. Now we can see that this sort of gives up white's interest in breaking down the center. Initially, you had the potential to break down the center eventually, but now white is basically going to be reduced to attacking on the king side, basically. Yeah, we see, well, there's this sort of rule of thumb, I guess, that when you have a closed center, meaning that the pawns can't take each other, then you want to play on the side of the board where your pawns are pointing to. So this pawn chain grabs a lot of space and points towards the king side. So that means white's pieces are going to have a lot more space to maneuver on the king side, and maybe they're going to be able to start an attack. Now, in this opening, it's interesting because the white light square bishop would really like to be
on this diagonal.
Now. So that's sort of the trade-off in the Catalan. You get a lot of space, but your bishop isn't exactly in the perfect attacking position, which is why black can play like this without being in trouble.
Okay, but what did he play? He played bishop f1, rerouting his bishop and trying to hit the h7 square. And e5 does a really great job for a future attack because it removes the knight from f6, which is similar to the King's Indian attack or other French. We have a similar to French structure here, except without c5, I guess.
And speaking of the French, now it's interesting. It's going to be interesting if black is eventually going to play a move like f6, just to break down white's center and to make sure that white isn't going to be able to easily start an attack. Also, if the f-file opens up, sometimes you get a lot of counterplay on the f-file because white's f2 pawn can now be a little bit tender in some variations.
Yeah. That's true. Although this bishop is not so easy to get it to hit this point.
Yeah. You can also play with c5 still, or maybe you can even combine both ideas in some situations.
Since white has already, I guess, spent a move as well, black can afford that.
Yeah, definitely a very interesting, very rich position.
Nice game. Okay, so I do want to look at this endgame that we have here. Let me see where this is. So it's board 1 of the challengers. Okay, so let's see. Should be here. Okay, here we are. Board 1 of the challengers, already an endgame. Let's just fly through this game real quick and see how we got to that position.
Loads of games already over, in fact.
We
can look at some of the games in a second.
Oh, we have a checkmate! Okay, woo! Okay, we have a lot here. So.
We're gonna go through them, okay?
We have a mate. So, this is board 1 of the challengers. We have the Scotch game. I'm going to fly through this because we do have a lot, because every single board of the Sligo tournament is live. So we have 150 boards. I'm not sure exactly on the number, but
I think it was 120 or something. Well, let's see real quick. No, not like this.
We have over 100 live boards. So we have a lot of chess to get through.
I think it's 95, I think. If they're numbered correctly on chess results, at least. But yeah, a lot of live boards, so great tournament for everybody who wants the professional chess feel. So if you ever want to be on a nice, DGT board, which feels very nice to play on.
Yeah.
Of course, they're very beautiful.
Except for no notation, no numbers and letters. So if you're not used to that, it's a little bit tough to keep score of the coordinates and easy to get it wrong. I know I've done that a lot of times. So I'm just going to get through this really quickly because I want to see...
Oh, somebody, okay.
Let's just see, there's a tactic here. So he attacked the queen and also attacked the bishop. So we have a double attack here. And white decided to take the bishop first. And now there needs to be some, I guess, calculation here.
Yeah, the problem here is that in the end, black will be able to run away with taking the knight, while white can't take any piece with the bishop anymore. So probably we had to take the knight here.
Okay, so let's just look at this for a second. Black decided here to attack the queen and attack the bishop. The problem is that if you take the bishop, the knight takes the queen and attacks the rook. So black will end up getting an exchange, getting more material. Instead of this, was there anything else?
You can't really defend the bishop is the problem.
Can you do anything else?
I don't think so.
So I guess this was, I guess then queen back here was a blunder, so maybe queen here.
It already looks a bit, I don't know. Probably
there was
at least fine here.
There's only one move, I guess, that white needed to play, and that was queen here.
And this is an unnatural move to play. So only if you really see that you're losing material are you going to play queen a4, because this is a very, I mean, queen e3 is the move you would want to play.
Yeah. But
keeping the queen more centralized. It just unfortunately doesn't work tactically.
Yeah. But before, I guess, how much time did he spend? He didn't really spend, he spent less than a minute on this move, actually 30 seconds. So before, I guess, you decide on a move, you really need to be looking at threats, any possible threats on the queen. Here, there are some threats, I guess, with the bishop, but then you just go back. And because the knight moving, there's always going to be a discover attack. You really need to be careful that this knight doesn't hit anything when it moves.
Yeah.
So, okay, I guess.
But also definitely a nice find. These positions are also very prone to miscalculations where, you take a whole lot of pieces and then it's very hard to keep track sometimes.
Yeah.
But even here, I mean, if you take the knight, let's say, instead of on the last move, maybe it's not as bad. You're down in exchange, but yeah, I mean, you're down in exchange, a clear exchange. But I think this is probably the worst variation.
Yeah. I
now,
guess pawns.
Yeah, now.
But you do keep the bishop, so you have actually a bishop instead of a knight for a rook.
It's true.
Yeah. Okay, and you can take that.
Actually, okay, yeah.
Although, yeah, I guess black cannot defend this pawn. Maybe he should have just pushed it.
Yeah.
But then.
But now you can defend.
Here, and now you can protect this. Really like that.
Although, is it so easy?
Well, yeah. Then there's bishop here.
The bishop. Well, actually, now you're maybe running into. Rook
yeah. So these bishops are quite.
There in that position.
Yes. Okay. So if this, what is the tactic? We have rook.
Oh, but actually, no, that doesn't work because you still have.
Bishop here. A lot of tactics.
Oh no! But now you have bishop b6 or maybe bishop b8. No, bishop b6.
Well, you also have this because you have check.
No, but then you're extending.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So here.
So bishop b6 probably.
Rook b6.
Rook b6. Yeah.
Okay, rook b6, and now.
No, you go rook b1.
Oh right, same tactic. So sorry. So here, let's just look at this for a second because there's a lot going on. But Oh, black has already won. Okay, the result is up. Black has won. But here, black decided to kick away this bishop. He has to be careful because after, if he pushes and tries to hold on to the pawn, if white decides to double attack here, and you protect, when this bishop comes in and attacks the rook.
Definitely, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, if black tries and double attacks the bishops here, you can get, actually white can get in trouble because there's still this tactic here where the bishop is attacked and you can check the king and win the rook.
Yeah, so this would be winning for black. But okay, he also found a winning variation, I suppose.
Okay, so let's fast forward to what happened.
Okay, so, wait, so hold on. We hung another tactic here. A nice in-between move, I guess.
Okay, so here the bishop is attacked. He moved out of the way. Again, the bishop is attacked. He moved out of the way. And now the rook is threatening to go to b1 and win the rook. So, okay, white castled very late in the game, and the queens are already
trying to go for a Rosen trophy.
The queens are also already off. Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
I think probably King d2 is the best move here. King d2, I would say. Oh right, sorry. Yeah, that's true. Okay, King e2. Then yeah.
Well, now this bishop is lost, so I think
that's maybe not possible. I guess Okay, that's fair.
Okay,
that's true. Okay, so I guess that wasn't possible. Then it's correct.
Okay, and here isn't this pawn already hanging? Maybe he could have already taken, but I guess the rook on b2 is also
nice activation, waiting for it to be. And the thing is, you shouldn't be overly careless here with black, because even though you're up in exchange, the bishops, they can in some positions do quite well against the rooks. Although here it's not quite the same because the bishops aren't quite coordinated, whereas the rooks are very active. And if you're black here, let's say no tactics are hung, it would make a lot of sense to try to trade off one pair of rooks, because one rook dominates a lot more against the bishops than two rooks. That's a general kind of rule in unequal material in games, where you want to trade off the asymmetry basically to highlight its strength. So you're going to have a rook, they're not going to have a rook, then the rook can shine a lot more than the single rook, or with the two rooks against the single rook. And here,
so he saved his pawn, but after the bishop is attacked, now this pawn is hanging. So once this pawn is lost, it's kind of going to be tough to get back in. Yes, the rook can't immediately come to the second because the bishop is there, but this would be black's plan, where maybe just taking and then having the c-pawn.
And white goes for a trick here, but missed that actually black can defend against the checkmate threat with tempo. So he doesn't defend his bishop thinking I can get a tempo on the back rank, but actually h6 gets a tempo back and defends against the mate threat. And so you're going to lose a piece here.
Yeah, so his bishop is attacked. He decided to go for a back rank mate, but instead h6 is happening. And now there's actually two pieces being attacked. So white decided to attack the rook. And now we have a nice exchange sacrifice. So the rook takes the bishop. Looks like it's giving away a rook, but actually you need to get the bishop back. And now, because black was up an exchange before, now he's up a piece because he won two bishops for a rook.
Yeah, actually, this is quite nice tactical awareness from black multiple times in this game. So this is probably definitely one of the scary players in this challenger section. I think we're going to have to look out for.
Yeah, and also he used barely any time. He has still an hour and 28 minutes on the clock. Let me just check his rating.
It's also interesting because Dennis is actually the top seed in the tournament, I think.
Oh, that's true.
So this is, I guess, okay, Ian, or is that how you pronounce the name?
Owen.
Owen is rated 569, and Dennis is rated 1179. So if we go by points, it's a massive upset. Of course, in the challenges section, you never can be quite sure. The ratings often mean very little. Especially, I don't know, is this a young player? Not too young. 22 or 23. 23, yeah, probably. Or 22, yeah. So
yeah,
not too young.
so
I guess an internet age player like me, for example, as well.
yeah, so I mean, already the top seed has lost, which is a huge result for Owen. He started off already beating the top seed. But yeah, also like you were saying in the challengers, there's a lot of players that have come in that have probably studied for a while, maybe have picked up chess during COVID, and haven't played many over the board tournaments. You can't prepare against these people. You don't know their Chess or chess.com.
And also, you don't know their strength either.
Yeah.
Because it's very scary when you play someone who has maybe played like one tournament that you know basically there's a big chance they're going to be underrated. And if you don't think that, you're going to be. Okay, gave up the bishop. Nice.
Okay, so here, this is just king and pawn endgame. He's going to get a queen and checkmate.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was board 1 of the challengers. Board 2 is also finished with a checkmate. And already finished with 1 hour and 31 minutes on the clock.
Gaining time. What? Oh, but his opponent also 1 hour and 28 minutes on the
1 hour and 28. Okay, challengers, use your time. This is why you have so much time on the clock.
Okay, but this one at least
think about your moves.
It was the expected result. So, you know.
Yeah, so what's the expected? But also, yeah.
I was going to say earlier, yeah, probably there's going to be, as there often is in the first round of a Swiss tournament, like some lopsided results.
Another French?
Yeah, this time in advanced variation.
Okay, I'm going to fly through this.
This is a bit unusual.
Okay, so here. Well, okay. So
I guess what's, I mean, it's definitely unusual to have this bishop development like that. Usually you want to play c3 and then put your bishop on the d3 sort of diagonal and try to attack on the king's head. But this is a bit of an unusual plan in the French. Not very thematic.
Okay, and already you give away the bishop for the knight.
Yeah, and also philosophically speaking, you don't want to trade your light square bishop necessarily when you have your pawns on dark squares like this.
Okay, so let's just see what happened.
Yeah, and then now black's light square bishop gets out as well. It's his bad bishop, the French bishop, and it wins an exchange at the same time. So this was basically an opening win here by black. And actually...
And white decided to go for trading down into an endgame here.
I will say that the French is often, I feel like, a very uncomfortable opening to play against when you're starting out, because like it's very different from the normal e5 structures you get, also very different from Sicilians often. So you don't play against these structures a whole lot because not everybody plays the French. Other openings are maybe more common, especially at the sort of that sort of level. Then it's going to be hard. Oh yeah, and here we lost a pawn.
Oh yeah. Okay, so b4 there's a pin. Yeah, I guess white missed a few tactics here, but you're gonna have tough games.
It's also, I mean, when you're playing your first couple of tournaments, it's nerves and everything. You're maybe not used to the physical board.
Yeah,
all sorts of things come into play there.
Yeah, that's true. So okay, already black is up quite a lot of material.
Yeah.
So let's just see.
Okay, now.
Okay, we took everything.
Well, at least you played until mate, so appreciate the tenacity.
Yeah, hopefully fighting for that stalemate, but it's very different over the board. It's very different to online. It's hard to miss these.
I guess that's also what contributed to them having so much time, that they played very quickly in the end. So they used a bit more time than it actually looked like. They just got a lot of it back as well.
Okay, let's go back to the Masters. Let's see how that is going. So, are majors up yet? Not yet.
We can also look at some of the female representation.
Yes.
Board 4, for example.
Okay, here we have board 4. So board 4. Hopefully.
She's from Sweden, I think.
Yeah, from Sweden. Irina.
Oh, actually,
doesn't.
There's 2 arenas next to each other. There. Yeah, there's Jakira is the other one. Okay, sorry. So Irina is actually 5th seed. That was my bad. So board 5 actually. And Jakira Kushal, is that a woman? I'm not sure. Sounds a bit like female name, but I'm not actually sure. Also, date of birth 2015. So some young players.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it's a girl or a boy, but definitely very young, and already rated 1887. The national rating 2188. Not sure if this is accurate, but that's an incredibly high rating. Maybe you played like one Irish event or something.
Okay, I don't think it's a.
Okay, it's a boy, I guess. Okay,
but
still very impressive. I mean, it doesn't really change anything.
Yeah, so I think he's, unless it's his birthday already, but
yeah, very talented junior. National rating, as I said, 2188, which is kind of incredible at 8 years old. Right?
8.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I don't know. Like maybe it's just one event, and maybe that's.
Is the live feed working? So the challengers are working. Masters are working.
It's just a championship that's not working.
So the championship, yes, is not live. Championship is not working. Oh, the camera. Oh, let's see. We will have a live feed
on my channel as well.
On 17's channel.
Hosted on.
Let's have a look.
Listen, I'm gonna give myself a shout out here.
Well, let's see if it's working. So.
Okay. Twitch is censoring me. Wow. Okay, well, we can just click on it here this way.
Yeah. Okay, it's working. It's working.
Brilliant.
It's in black and white, so we are
retro fields.
Back in. Okay.
Maybe some Queen's Gambit vibes. This is a beautiful hall as well. I guess it's a hotel, is it?
Yeah. I think. Okay, let me just put it in. So I'm going to take away these boards and put in the
maybe we're going to get ads.
Okay, here we go. 1 second. So I'm just going to put in. Well, I guess you can talk about one of the positions.
Yeah, maybe we can put in,
well, let's put in Irina's board here.
Okay. Yeah, so also knight of 3 kind of opening with the fianchetto. These often are quite quiet. Here, black ended up with an isolated queen's pawn position, and well, I don't really see much of an initiative. So these positions, as black, when you have the isolated queen's pawn, you really want to be able to gain some initiative for it. If white is going to be able to blockade, that's going to be a tough position to play, at least practically very difficult, because you're going to always have to babysit your pawn on d5. And for now, white has fairly good control. But I think this is still okay, I would assume. So knight d4 is an idea. Castles you could play, but maybe that's a little bit slow. Sorry, after as black, I mean. So yeah, I guess you're going to be trying to blockade the pawn. For now, it's going to be a little bit difficult for white to attack it as well. Generally, as a rule, it's going to favor white to trade pieces here, because the closer you get to an endgame in this kind of position, if you imagine all the knights and bishops off the board for a second, it's going to be very easy for white to control the pawn. Maybe put a rook on d4, triple up on the d file, and maybe then play e4 at some point.
Yeah.
So that's the ideal dream for white. Now, black is relying on either at some point being able to push the pawn. For example, if white ever plays e3, then you can maybe push and try to undermine white's structure. Yeah, and if you don't, if you, let's say, put a knight on d4, black is not going to take you, generally speaking. So you're going to have to take on either e6 or on c6, and then black gets this hanging pawn structure, which can be weak, but also can be quite powerful. For example, if we imagine, let's say, knight d4, castles, and then if you were to, let's say, take on c6 now, this wouldn't be a great idea, because now this sort of small little pawn chain is working quite nicely against your bishop, whereas black now gets the b file to put some pressure on your b pawn. And maybe these pawns for black can, in the end, be a little bit dangerous as well if they get going. So that's what you say with hanging pawns. They have a lot of potential. They have a lot of energy. If they get rolling, it can be quite good. But also they can be vulnerable to attack. So yeah, double-edged kind of position. But for now, yeah, still relatively quiet. I was actually going to say, can we maybe look at Yannick's game?
Yeah.
Yannick actually was in the first tournament I ever played, the Bolger Cup 2022. There he was in the challengers section, so he's been rising through the ranks.
Yeah.
So we've been having these kids, internet kids, rising up. Irish chess in general, I guess, loads of juniors coming up, so very exciting times.
Yeah, and there are a lot of tournaments going on.
A ton, yeah, that's true.
So there's constantly potential for improvement, and well, when your peers are playing a lot more, you also play a lot more, and you all get better together.
And one thing about Irish chess, considering the size, it's quite nice, because Sligo would be, let's say, the most remote tournament you can imagine in Ireland. But at the same time, it's not too far away for anybody to get to. It's not like a massive distance. So even, basically, if you live in Ireland, you can reasonably comfortably get to all the tournaments. You don't need to, let's say, if I wanted to play a tournament in Germany, I might have to play or travel like 5-6 hours for a tournament if it's not, let's say, close to me. But in Ireland, it's kind of, at least in that way,
together, yes.
Convenient, yeah. So that's nice for people who want to play loads of tournaments, even though you are on an island. So that has its own downsides for international play, I guess.
Okay.
So King's Indian.
I guess it started off as English, and then we transposed. So.
Loads of fianchettos.
Yeah.
This is kind of a master section thing.
It's interesting because usually younger players play maybe e4 and keep it a little bit more open at the start, but we see a lot of c4 and d4s now. When I was younger, we weren't really playing these so much.
Yeah, Gavin, for example, also a d4 player.
Yeah.
Loads of these. Also, like a very quiet d4. Maybe that's because of Coffin's coaching
influence.
Certain, I guess, coaches can have quite a big influence on your style and repertoire. So this is.
Okay, so the pawn was attacked, the queen protected, and now interesting move. So black played e5. White has the opportunity here to take en passant, but black will just take back. Well, I guess he can take back with the bishop, but I was thinking that his idea was maybe to take back with the pawn to try and push d5, and then hopefully get the center back. But e5. Okay, usually you don't really want to have this backwards pawn on d6.
It's kind of gonna end up being like a Benoni type of position where you get quite nice development. Even if you give up that pawn and you get like play on the queen side instead, that can be an idea because your bishop is going to be incredibly powerful in this kind of position. Your dark square bishop. Because white is going to have a tough time in playing against that, especially if your knight's already sort of putting pressure on the c4 pawn. So structurally, this makes a lot of sense. I used to play sometimes these fianchetto openings against the King's Indian, and often actually you can also give up your exchange in the corner for the dark square bishop in some of these variations.
How do you mean?
Well, not here, but earlier. Let's say when you play this kind of fianchetto position with white, you can sometimes, let's say, play b3, and then they try to win your exchange, and you let them, and then you try to checkmate them basically with like bishop h6 and attack on the king side when your rook's still on a1. Yeah. So yeah, it didn't go down that route. So now, I mean, e4, I don't love this position for white now, I will say. It's very hard to come up with a plan in this piece configuration. I mean, it's probably objectively fine, but...
Yeah, I feel... Okay, so e5, if you don't take it, now black has gotten away with this move, which now you can't exploit this backwards pawn, and even though white does have more space in the center, you can't really use it. You can't bring your pieces anywhere. The pieces are kind of stuck. Your bishop is stuck, and well, I guess black's idea is to play f5. White can maybe also play f4.
Well, yeah, the thing is now, if we look at the structure, you would really like your pawn to be on d3 instead of d5. For multiple reasons, actually. First of all, you would like to eventually maybe put a knight on d5. So you would like the square to be empty, but also you would like your e-pawn to be protected if you were ever going to play f4. So for multiple reasons, I like black structure a little bit better. From a purely ease of play kind of perspective. I mean, just having the space, the computer is always going to like white. But I like this opening, the way it went for black, quite a lot.
Yeah, so maybe this could have been a better try. Also here, I guess the bishop kind of needs to take, but now you have a target over here and you can easily attack it. Maybe this can be your idea, and like Patrick was saying earlier, you can bring your knight on d5. But here, white has a lot more space. The bishop is opened up. Black also has a lot more space. Like there's pressure here, so you would need to protect it first. But your pieces are more active, and you have more pressure. Whereas here, it's very closed, and I mean, it's quite equal.
The thing about that position, the thing about that position is also your knight's going to get to c6, and then you're going to have a lot of control over the d4 square with the bishop and the knight together. Once you, let's say, take on en passant, and then you play b3, and then you play knight c6, and then you're going to have a lot of control over the d4 square, which is going to be quite nice positionally.
But white can just kick you away.
Well, that's true. But even if you...
And here, black cannot kick white away.
I don't mean you necessarily put something there. I meant just you have control over the square.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but it's true. Definitely, you can keep it under control. But yeah,
but this
definitely an interesting position.
But this is definitely much better for white than this is.
Yeah.
So I think in the other variation, it was white has the initiative, and now here, b6. Okay, b6 I don't really love so much. I think b5 would have been a much better move to try and So then maybe
Yeah,
you can
nice
take like
variation.
this.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, this is, I guess, similar to Benko Gambit ideas, where maybe you can give away a pawn and just have a lot more space on the queen side, and you'll end up getting it back.
And it's a very it's a nice variation. The only downside is that your bishop is also now blocked by your e pawn, so you don't have quite the same kind of Benko compensation.
Yeah, that's true. But
it's a very nice variation.
You don't allow white to come in with
yes,
e5,
definitely.
so it's actually maybe a better variation of Benko.
It says it's up and downs, yeah.
Yeah, because now you can attack on both sides of the board. So actually, in this case, I think b5 it's a hard move to play because you need to calculate here a bit. But this could have been a nice chance for black to take control of the queen side. So let's just calculate here for a bit. After pawn takes,
it's a tough variation to go for.
Okay, so I mean the most.
Yeah, the only justification, I guess.
The I guess most aggressive move would be to play c4. The queen has to go somewhere, so let's say if the queen goes back, now you can take, and if the knight takes back,
I mean, oh yeah, okay, you have knight takes e4, bishop f5, tactically, and then your rook's undefended in the end.
Okay, so we have this after the queen takes. There's this nice skewer. Okay, this is very complicated, but I think okay.
It's also tricky because
I don't think the idea is hard to see. Maybe seeing the tactics here, but even if you are giving away, okay, I guess if you don't see this, then
it's still. I mean, if you're
bishop a5, maybe there's some ideas here.
Yeah, definitely ideas. The only thing is, it's not very natural to go for this, I feel like, simply because this is often a move you need to prepare. b5, if you, let's say, play Benoni or something, often it's going to be very thematic to prepare this move and then to take the space without sacking a pawn. And it's kind of a key battle. If you get this move in, you're going to be in a good position. And playing it immediately, sort of maybe sacrificing a pawn for it, is interesting.
Okay, so we have our first result of the Masters. I'm not sure if Ben has already finished this game. It says that White has already won. Oh, okay. He actually has a. Okay, so actually Ben is the first. Is the first to win in the Masters section against Dylan.
In 12 moves.
What is Dylan's rating here?
Dylan, actually, fun fact about him while Diana's looking up his rating. If any of you guys know Chess Dojo, he was on the first season of Ultimate Sensei, a show that they put on where they were coaching players at a certain level and for a couple of months and seeing who would be best in the end. So he was featured on that show. He's also co-founder of the Chess Lifestyle channel, if you guys know that, maybe YouTube channel. So kind of a low-key chess personality. Yeah.
So he is. Do you know where he's from?
He's American, I believe.
Okay, so he came all the way from.
Well, I don't know if he.
Wait, let's see. What is his? Yeah, he is.
But I'm not sure if he came over for this.
Well, maybe he was visiting.
I'm pretty sure he's played this tournament last year as well.
Okay.
So maybe he's like from.
He's back
there or something.
Wow, coming all the way from the US to play in the Sligo Tournament, that is excellent. Okay, so let's have a look. Who are you talking about? We're talking about Dylan, who is playing against Ben on board 11 of the Masters.
Who was playing against Ben.
Yeah, they're not playing anymore.
Unfortunate.
Let's see. So,
let's see
this was a quick game. We have...
Ben, by the way, another kid who plays d4.
Yeah, Ben,
we're speaking about
who is Mr. G's brother. Also... Oh, he lives in the UK. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Dylan works for.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. So a chess personality in more than one way, I suppose. Not only member of the sort of content sphere, but also chessable person.
Okay, so far this is all, I guess, normal. You're developing your pieces. Black has played the Queen's Indian. So he was, I guess, going for a Nimzo, but because White played knight f3, you can't really play that against the anti-Nimzo. That's why it's called knight f3 is called the anti-Nimzo. So okay, Black decided to then go for b6 and develop his bishop here. And now White pushed d5. Okay, so he's already pushing this in the center. So if Black decides to take, it looks like he's giving away a pawn, but
yeah, the pawn's going to be pinned if you move the knight away, I suppose.
Yeah, so once the knight moves away, now you can open up this bishop and hit the pawn here, and this bishop is also unprotected, so the pawn cannot take here. So once you move the knight out of the way, you can move it here or to d4. Now you're threatening to take it back, and Black cannot get out of this. I guess he can also protect his pawn here. But this is not a nice pawn structure.
Yeah,
but if he takes with the knight,
nice.
now White gets a nice center.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those variations that's a lot of fun. You're kind of, playing to live as Black there.
Surviving chess are favorite.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's also interesting because if we talk about the Queen's Indian, a lot of Catalan players, I'm not sure if Ben is one, but he or maybe he just plays this against the Queen's Indian, but a lot of Catalan players actually like to avoid the Queen's Indian. So they play g3 before knight f3, just so that Black can't get to this setup because it's a different kind of position. Usually in the Catalan, you like to play against the bad light square bishop that Black has. Whereas here, basically strong bishop against strong bishop. So different kind of game that you get. But Ben happy to go for this.
Okay, so he's attacking the pawn, and there's no good way of protecting this pawn. You don't really want to use your queen to protect it and pin it. So I guess you need to push it. And now this is the tactic that he went for. Knight g5, threatening to get in to e5, to e6, and he's also threatening check. And actually the game is not over, it's still being played, so it was transmission error, I think, because there is still a move was played here, queen h5. So knight g5 threatening to go here and threatening check, and after the king moves, knight f7. Very nice tactics from Ben. Knight to e6, attacking the rook, and now queen h5, attacking the bishop. And then threatening checkmate on g2. I mean, yeah, I was surprised if Black would already have resigned. I mean, an exchange down, but here, nice move. Queen h5, very nice move. And this is also a lot of things are threatened here.
Very complicated.
A lot of things are being threatened here. So, okay, big decision to make for Ben. Okay, what can Ben do here?
Not very easy, because let's say you go back with your bishop, then your knight might just be a little bit stranded. Let's say you defend and then
save his pawn.
Where's your knight?
Well, he can't because now.
You take the bishop first.
Okay, yes. So here.
And then you defend.
Okay. Maybe.
Because now your knight doesn't have any squares, at least temporarily. Actually, that's not true. I guess g5 is defended. I'm blind. Okay.
Okay, so then I can go back, but maybe there are some.
I guess maybe you can even play something like. Maybe you can even play like e4, then trade, and then rescue your knight from there. Because you do have more space. You're gonna. I guess my goal would be
I think you
if I
can
play...
already play this actually. This is a nice move.
Okay, sure.
So you're attacking the bishop, and you're also threatening to take back with the queen. And now we're hitting the rook, and we're also threatening discovered attacks. Maybe even.
Yeah.
Wow.
Doesn't quite work, but yeah, that's very interesting. Okay, wait. So let's go back for a move or two. What do we do here? Okay, I mean, maybe you can go back. Maybe you can play queen e8.
Okay, so the bishop is attacked. We go back and play queen e8, and now we can actually take on c7. And
oh
now
yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe that. Oh, but actually, maybe then you have. Maybe then you have queen c6. Yeah.
And now we can take the rook.
And then I guess you don't have. Ah, yeah, the queen's still protecting the knight. Yeah, okay. Maybe that's not optimal.
Okay, so here bishop g2 seems to be a nice move. Well, not a nice move, but it seems to lead to a nice position.
No, wait, hold on. I think we're not done analyzing this. Can't imagine. Wait, maybe we don't need to defend the pawn. Maybe we don't need to defend the pawn. Maybe we need to do something better. Maybe we have. Okay, yeah. So let's say
knight g4, threatening mate. Okay, white needs to protect me, so maybe h3.
Okay. And then. Okay, maybe you can. Maybe now you can take on g2 because now. Well, actually. Very complicated. Yeah, you're gonna have to be very active here as back at least, because if you go back, then again you're gonna get hit by knight d5. So probably
also the pawn is still hanging here, so white is still threatening to take this pawn.
Okay, gonna need to sacrifice something. Let's go for knight f2, I guess. Or...
Okay, so let's see. So if the knight goes back, then you just take, and I guess the rook, after the rook moves out of the way, now you can bring this other knight and protect.
Yeah, this is. But even if you just go back with the other knight, I think both are just good for white. I mean, you just have a clean pawn and no attack for black. So yeah, let's say knight f2 for a second. Or
okay.
One of the two.
So if we try to take this pawn, we are threatening the queen. Okay, so, well, we'll obviously take the knight.
Yeah, now you're going to have to take again, and maybe you have a perpetual of some kind.
Oh, we do have queen f7.
Oh, or this.
Queen f7, double attack. Okay, queen f... Oh. But, can we move the knight back? I guess not. Bishop. And now, how's the material looking? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And 6. I guess you can't go...
Okay, so equal.
Oh, I guess you can't go g5 because...
g5.
Yeah, queen d5. Ah, that hits the rook, and then you need to trade queens? No, but that...
We can say...
Oh, no, but then knight takes, and then you're attacking the bishop back on e7, right? So you have to take on d5, knight takes d5, knight attacks the bishop, and you're barely hanging on. Okay.
Who's barely hanging on?
Well, both, I suppose. but because white was in trouble earlier, so white is barely hanging on.
Okay.
Generating enough threats to defend. All right, fascinating position.
Okay, so I guess the bishop is attacked. Maybe bishop back here protecting, and now this bishop can move back. And now we're just in an equal position, so...
Can we go back for a second earlier to maybe after rook takes f2, and after knight takes f2, rook takes f2, rook takes f2? I was thinking if we... No, I guess we don't have anything. Like we can't take on h3, for example. I guess if we didn't have the knight on b8, then we might be able to do such things, but not this way.
Well, we don't have any other pieces.
Yeah, exactly, because we don't. We're gonna have the knight on b3 that ruins our fun. If we could play rook f8, that might be a different story.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
needed to develop.
But that's not happening. Okay. So I guess, I mean, so we're saying this game's still going on. We assume.
Wait, Waterford Wizard, is queen d3 playable for white in the original position? Which original position? Which original position are we talking about? Queen d3. So here, queen back, and now. Okay, so this is the position. This is on the board right now. Black is attacking the bishop on h3. So now white is calculating what to do.
Let me just quickly check the times, if maybe get some insight, because I'm not sure if the leeches clocks, okay. They're not moving at least.
Where are they not moving?
Oh, actually they are moving now. Okay, never mind. Oh, okay, now they went back. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, okay, maybe some problems with the clock. But I do want to look, let me just see the challengers. There's how's the King's Gambit game going? Okay, so what happened was the white took back the pawn. Okay, so double attack here.
Okay.
Oh, well, we have nice tactics here. Bishop d2. Cannot take the pawn.
Yeah, I don't love that move.
Here, bishop c3, and now you are the one that will lose the rook. So, nice move.
Wait, but then he played bishop g7. What if we play bishop c3 now?
Bishop c3. Okay.
What's happening here? I guess you have knight e5, but that doesn't. I mean, then you castle maybe, and then you're.
Yeah, bishop c3 is very nice.
This seems very dodgy. As this black. Maybe, I mean, that's at least my instinct. Do you have anything here?
Izush. So on the top board in the Masters, Danny Gormley has withdrawn from the tournament. So not sure what happened in that game.
It's an unusual move to withdraw before round one.
But but did he withdraw during the game? Was that actually played? We don't know. We have no idea.
Maybe Lucian played f6 and he was like, "No, I'm done with this.
Yeah,
I can't anymore."
I wouldn't put it past him. So.
Do you know him?
Bishop. Yes, so he coaches. She also streams horsey chess. Yeah.
Zoe Varney. Yeah.
You made a super blunder on move 5. Okay, no pun intended. Let's have a look. What did you do? I was just about to go to your game and see how you're doing.
Wait, who's no pun intended?
That is Leonardo. So Leo, he is playing in the Challengers, and he has played a lot of tournaments.
The Masters.
He has played a lot of tournaments.
Is this one?
No.
That's the majors?
He has played a lot of tournaments recently. So he played in Gonzaga last weekend. Then before that, he played in Carlo. And now he's playing Sligo. So
Ireland is becoming a real chess country.
What board were you on? Let me have a look.
All the time. We can also do Control F.
Okay, so he was on board 81.
Oops, that didn't work out.
1 second.
Correctly.
Okay, board 81. So he was playing against Connor Crean. Wait, this is
81 should be, I think, 8 from the bottom.
Yeah, this is Challengers. Oh, 8 from the bottom. Okay.
If I have it, I didn't calculate this, but we had 19.
Oh, found it. Okay, so 28. Oh, Okay,
Wait,
your
what?
game wasn't.
Oh
Your
no!
game wasn't. I can't give out to you here.
Was the
Your
blunder
game is,
flagging on move 3?
You made a super blunder move 5, and we can only see move 2.
Oh no!
Phil from Omaha. Hi, Diana and Patrick. I had a great win, but missed a mate while trading queens. Oh no! You had a great win. Well, that's great. Oh, but you missed a mate. Oh, right. Oh, but you still won. I guess that's great.
Up and down kind of affair.
Grimani might have been fed up with Desmond's speech.
Desmond is an Irish chess person, or?
Yes, he's the chess chairman.
Right.
Of the Irish Chess Union. Irish Chess Union chairman. And his speeches are famously short.
Famously to the point. Okay, I see how it is.
No, I was being sarcastic. They're famously
I
very
understand.
long.
So.
But sometimes they actually can be short.
But did he actually make a speech, or was that also just a thing to say?
At the start of the game, at the start of the tournament. Yeah, I think he was there.
Traveling around for speeches. I guess you must make them long if you're gonna.
It's the only
all the
tournament going
effort.
on at the moment in Ireland.
Yeah, I know, but like, you know, if you're gonna go to all the tournaments, it's gonna be a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Well done to him. Love ourselves some engaged organizers. Maybe some organizers, functionaries, or whatever you might call such people.
Okay. This is the bottom. Oh, wait 1 second.
Bottom section, bottom board. No.
Yes, I'm just checking if we've already looked at this game. Okay, we haven't. But we're playing on this position because White is fighting.
Fighting spirit. We like it.
Hello, Goku. Okay, so we have another d4. And we have a nice Jobava London.
Ooh. Somebody's been studying up.
Okay.
Someone's been watching some YouTube videos. Okay.
Okay, bishop d6 wanting to trade.
Okay, I don't think we like trading on d6 here.
Usually we bring it
No,
back.
I think you play knight 3 and then you take on sort of this bind structure, and then you're gonna try to play on the king side. Maybe play bishop d3, h3, g4 kind of thing.
Okay. So anyway, he decided to take on d6. Hello, Goku. The commentary is going good. London player, good that he lost. Well, I mean, there's London and then there's Jobava London. I think they're actually in different categories.
Lots of animosity towards London players here. We don't support such things, or do we?
No, I have played London before,
Exactly.
and I think that, okay, even though, I mean, I am a Colley player, so I can't really give out
the Colley is
to the
actually much
London,
worse.
To the sister opening of the Colley, but of course I definitely prefer the Colley, but
I guess it's a different kind of approach. One is sort of pointing towards the queen side, and one's more kind of a king side focus opening.
Okay, I'm going to fast forward until the action. So White decided to castle queenside.
Okay, relatively thematic at least. Okay, queen d3. Wait, was that
Queen d3, I guess we're...
I don't like queen d3. That doesn't seem...
Maybe develop the bishop first.
Right. Not sure why we did that.
Well, he's probably going for checkmate.
Yeah,
just like we thought.
That's a bit optimistic.
It is the bottom board of the bottom section. So
wow,
let's remember that anything can happen. But it is over the board chess. And we have an hour and a half on the clock. Okay, so we have plenty of time. But yes, we are going to go for checkmate. Black doesn't allow it.
I guess also if you play, let's say, f5 here instead, then you might get in trouble after like queen d3 or something like that. You could conceivably, at least.
Yeah, queen b3 check, and maybe we will see
exactly
a beautiful smothered mate.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
So maybe not only one idea, so maybe a little bit more than one idea. 1.5 ideas, let's call it.
Oh, okay, very nice. So,
whoa.
After g6, White developed his bishop, and now Black decided to take a pawn.
Okay, White was really committed to the trick.
And White!
Oh no, my bishop, he said, maybe.
Yeah.
He said it over the board.
Oh no, my bishop. So here, black cannot take because there is still checkmate.
Now the problem, of course, is that our pieces are kind of still very loose here. So thinking,
Okay,
this
attacking
is
the queen.
one thing we can do. Oh
But,
yeah, that's
bishop
okay.
f5, and now this is
maybe you can still play queen
well, you can.
or something.
This is what happened actually.
Okay,
e4 was played. Yeah. Another attack, very nice play. But now you can just take the pawn on d4. And bishop g4. Okay, what is happening here? Bishop g4 attacking the rook and the bishop, protected by the knight. So I guess white is happy to trade the bishop, and has to because black is threatening to take the bishop. So bishop takes, knight takes.
Okay, so what happened here for white that it went so wrong? We take the queen, and then we.
Okay, so white is actually a pawn up here.
Looks like white is just much better.
Okay, so here, this is where the pawn went. Instead of rook f1, if we play rook e1 instead, I guess we hold on to our pawn here. But rook here, we lose the pawn. And now rook d4. Okay, so rook d4, I think rook d7 might be a little bit more active. We're attacking the pawn here as well. And then maybe we can actually use this.
Yeah, this still looks very nice for white, even after blundering the pawn. You have a load more activity. Although, I mean, maybe black is barely in time, but probably white is still much better here.
Yeah, so let's see. Rook d4, the knight is attacked, knight goes back, attacking the knight again. Why are we not activating our rook on the 7th? This is what we need to be doing. Activate our pieces. Goku, that is also not true because Patrick has also spoke a lot about some of the openings that we had earlier in some of the games. We can't talk over each other.
We can't both. Diana has all the knowledge.
This and is you came in maybe 20 minutes ago? Okay. Nice.
Shad is discussing some chess drama here, apparently, as well.
I haven't
wonder what happened. Something with
seen the tweet.
Hans. Someone was saying Hans, which is always a stands out
headline.
And anybody talks about chess drama.
Wait, let's just see what happened. So.
Wait, how did the pawn? Why is there pawn on b4? Sorry,
attacking the knight.
Okay.
And knight goes back. Okay, the rook went back. Still not going to the 7th for some reason. And we're attacking a pawn that's already protected.
Yeah, now while we're already in the habit of kicking knights, we might as well
kick, but now no kicking. We want to keep our pawns on b3.
The thing is, I would rather have a pawn on b2 than a pawn on g2 as well.
Yeah,
because I would like to play c3 at some point, maybe just to stabilize.
You want to
now black also has sort of a target on the c file. The white pawn is going to be a little bit backward. Maybe black can play b5 at some point, but structurally that's not the most pleasant kind of situation.
Okay, so rook b1, and now we go to e1. Okay, black didn't want to trade this rook, but he wants to trade the rook on d2. Okay.
Yeah, that was also the better rook because now you gave up a pawn. But,
White fell for this tactic and lost the rook. That's an
unfortunate tactic.
Okay, so with 1 hour and 29 minutes on the clock.
Not the first game either.
If you are going to make a move like this, you need to look out for what?
Tactics.
Checks, captures, and threats.
Sorry, I haven't been.
So this whole commentary tournament, if you guys are going to learn anything, it's going to be checks, captures, and threats.
In a bit, we're probably going to learn 1 square in front of the pawn, 2 squares in front of the pawn opposition.
Yeah.
That's for later, though. Stay tuned for that.
I'm sure we'll get an endgame like that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I hope we get an endgame like that.
No, definitely.
But
all the
whoever follows this channel or follows me, I always say checks, captures, and threats. Those are the first moves. If not, you just want to look out for checks and captures. So checks are very important. There's always tactics falling, and this is what happened. But Yeah, so white actually spent maybe like 10 seconds on this move. Maybe a little bit more, maybe 25 or 30 seconds.
Yeah, very
But
unfortunate. Yeah. Also, I mean, it's not a desirable move to begin with.
okay, yeah. So tough game for Henry, but you need to
Was
think a little bit
definitely
longer.
winning at some point as well, or
Yeah,
close to, I mean, winning is maybe a strong word, but like much better.
Phil has heard it to me until it comes out of his ears. Phil hears it all the time, and look what happens, Phil, when you don't play it.
Terrible.
When you don't think about it.
It's a terrible feeling as well. This is how you learn, though. If you make a mistake like that once, although this is definitely a very challenger section thing. I think lots of players there are actually, I mean, definitely have the potential to play higher, but taking time is, I think, one of the biggest differences between the challenger section and the others.
Okay, so let's go back to Rory against Ross, which was the sharp French line that we were looking at. And we stopped looking around here. Black did not take the pawn back, not back, but Black did not take the free pawn because then his knight is going to be out of place and doesn't have anywhere nice to go. So instead he played c5, which is a thematic move in the French. And someone did say earlier, why does everyone in Ireland play the French? Well, I would like to ask the same question because I have no idea.
It is.
I have no idea where it started, where it came from. All I know is Coffin definitely was one of the first. And
trendsetter, and then he was teaching everyone.
Yeah, he passed it on to two others. Maybe their French. Do they? I think yes. Really? Gavin definitely does. I mean, Gavin played it, didn't he? Gavin played it, and we looked at it here.
So
Gavin definitely plays it. Ben, I'm sure Ben plays it too. I'm not sure. I mean, he plays the Nimzo.
Also, this one was a Milner-Barry gambit, which is exciting. So we should look at that at some point. Very exciting opening, that one.
Okay, I'll see you later, Goku. I count too. Well, you do play the French, so maybe is it more that you're half Irish, so you will play the French, or are you Irish because you play the French? Let me just.
Are you Irish because you play the French?
Well, if I'm looking at a game and I see it, I'll be thinking, wait, is this an Irish player?
If I ever want to change federations, I'll start playing.
I have not seen the French played so much. Not even in France.
But it is funny because it is definitely a trend sort of thing. Because remember when we were playing in Lyon, we played a New Year's tournament last year in Lyon, and nobody there played the Sicilian. I don't think any of the local players, any of the French players played Sicilian the whole tournament. So interesting how these things work.
Okay, so here let's have a look. After c5, white developed their knight. So black took the pawn. Pawn cannot take back because there is a pin.
Okay. Now you can take the knight, I suppose.
Okay, so now
castle works as well.
White castled, yeah. So now he is turning to take the pawn back.
Ooh, f5, huh? Okay. I guess the idea is en passant, take back with the knight.
This is a very risky move. Opening up the king like that.
The bishop's going to end up on g6, and then you're going to be close to mate it, so that's going to be a bit dangerous.
f5. Okay, let's just... f5. Why didn't black just take back the pawn?
Well, then you take the knight, and then you're fine. I like white's position here. I understand why you wouldn't want this necessarily. I would take white here for sure.
Sure. I mean, I guess white...
It's up a pawn, but it looks very awkward. Like, look at the king, look at the rook in the corner.
Yeah, but, I mean, the king is much safer here than in this situation.
Right. No, that's for sure. But, like, look at the other variation, for example, even, like, a4 and bishop a3 coming. That doesn't...
Okay, so here...
It doesn't inspire.
a4 and bishop here.
Like
okay, and if I just keep my king on g8?
Yeah, then your rook is trapped forever.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, maybe I could bring it in like this. There's nowhere light square bishop.
Your queen side is also not developed, and yeah, I don't know. Also, eventually, maybe you're going to play f4, f5 as well.
Yeah. This is
I mean, I
not
definitely
as
see why he didn't
comfortable.
play it. I wouldn't. I would look for alternatives as well. Let's say. Um,
Yes, but f5.
yeah, F5 is definitely. I mean,
Okay, let's see. So f5.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, so white took. I mean, when you can open up the king like this, there is no hesitation. You don't. If you play anything else, I guess this pawn is now
Yeah. Now.
solid there. I mean, there's still g4, so you can still undermine it, but you're definitely going to want to take it and open up the king. So even if the knight does get back, now you have a beautiful bishop, and you don't need to exchange it for the knight anymore.
I guess another problem is that your dark squares are now incredibly weak. The queen can sort of
light squares.
No dark. Well, okay, those light squares, but also
right.
I mean the dark squares in the center. So actually, kind of both, yeah. So
your whole board is weak.
Your whole board is weak, so we're not
blue, red, purple, everything.
We're not loving that position. So good point, actually. So yeah, okay, played queen g3. That makes a lot of sense, exploiting exactly those dark squares.
Yeah. And now you don't. You also don't let the queen.
Yeah, the queen is stranded. Your development. I mean, d6 is a thing.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, black did take back the pawn, but don't know why f5 needed to be played before we take back the pawn.
Knight d.
Okay, so knight comes in, threatening.
Going to g6, yeah.
Yeah, we're threatening check and rook, so we have to do something about that. Rook g8. Ooh. So let's just look at this for a second. This king.
Your king has no more space to run anywhere.
No, this is not looking fun.
You even have knight g6, knight e5 as well.
Yeah, so you can get this nice square for the knight.
Then the bishop
bishop is never going to develop. Yeah.
Bishop g6, I mean, also makes some sense. Now, if you ever get a check-in on the diagonal, you have a nice little crisscross kind of mate. Yeah, even that, or with the queen.
Yeah.
So you can even, like, I guess knight e6 is a threat, even.
Oh, yes, very nice. You're threatening to actually take here, check, and after the bishop takes, queen here is checkmate. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Mate so, in two if the bishop takes. Lots of ideas. But I guess the king can go here.
Which is interesting because I saw later that black was doing quite well. So this is going to be interesting.
See. So this is how you can start an attack with white. This was a very nice move. Bishop g6, beautiful move. So knight c6 was played. Now, are we stopping the mate? Wait. So wait, let me just see here. Here,
well, now the knight can come back and block. There's knight e7.
Oh yeah, sorry, it is stopping the mate because now we have knight e7.
But you're still, I mean, you're still taking the bishop, and then another mate is threatened. So it's not entirely clear to me.
Well, you've already given up a piece.
No, but let's say here, and then we take, and then we're still threatening mate.
Okay, so we can just take the bishop.
Oh right, okay, sorry, I'm blind. Right, okay.
But wait,
it's still a4 and bishop a3, yeah.
Well, but now the rook is coming in, the queen can come in to protect. You actually don't have enough pieces.
Yeah.
So this is very important. Okay, lesson time.
But it's a spicy game, this one, I like it.
This is incredible. Okay, so here, this king is very weak. It needs to be exploited. When you're attacking, you really need to have as many pieces in the attack as possible. And white has that. Knight, queen, bishop, and another bishop can easily come in as well. Black is unable to bring, I guess, this rook in unless quickly he can develop the bishop. But you have to be careful when exchanging and going for ideas like this, because if they're not maybe winning on the spot, or at least winning in some way material-wise, or you get a great position, if you're not sure about it, exchanging can just take away a lot of your power, a lot of your attacking power. So knight takes e6, it is a beautiful move, because you can win the piece back, but you do lose an extra piece attacking, and you also allow black to exchange one of the pieces that wasn't able to come in and protect.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess the key thing is that your bishop is in the end hanging on g6. Otherwise, that would work beautifully.
Yeah. So tactically it doesn't work because the knight is coming back.
If we can just engineer, let's say, a position real quick. This of course doesn't really make any sense, but let's say we could play this and then I don't know, like some non-move, and now we can play this, and this actually works now, because after takes we have now we have bishop a3 directly.
And queen takes b8.
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, that was maybe not the right move.
But also,
I was trying to make a neutral
then
move.
You can actually also use this.
Yeah. No, but let's say just for demonstration's sake, let's say they play a6 or something, and then you go through this kind of variation. Ignore for a second that this is possible immediately, but now this is just working, because now after you take this, you have bishop a3, and now there's no way of stopping this anymore. So basically, you're one move away, or basically one development ability away from a beautiful little checkmate.
Yeah, just need to prepare that a little bit better. That's so annoying. Why?
Yeah. Okay, so wait, did he play this though?
So
did he play knight takes e6?
I think he did. Okay. Here he played knight takes e6.
It's very tempting.
That is very difficult to not play, because you also don't, when you're attacking, you don't want to waste any moves because you want to put your foot on the accelerator.
Yeah.
But you also want to build it up as much as you can.
This is interesting because if you think, this is often a situation where you can think to yourself, not only what move would I love to play, which is definitely a4, so you can allow this bishop to come in, but also what can my opponent do? And if you think about that for a second, it's not at all easy for black to make a move here. Like, that really helps that much. Let's say black wanted to develop in this position. Let's say you play a4 and say, okay, black make a move that helps you in any way. What move is that? It's not very easy to make one. I mean, you can defend them against the immediate threats, but how are you gonna stop this in the long run?
Or even now.
Even now.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, there's no like developing moves, and whenever that's the case,
yeah, you need to build up your position.
Unless there's an immediate knockout that you see with knight takes e6, you should probably, because black doesn't have any good moves.
Yes, that's a very
take as much time as you want.
Important point from Patrick. When you're attacking, you need to think whether you go ahead and accelerate your attack, like knight e6 was here, or you need to build it up and make the blow as strong as possible. But then that gives your opponent time to develop. So you just need to ask yourself if there is anything that your opponent can do that would help improve his position. And when they can't, then it's only going to be you who is able to build on that position.
One rule I've actually heard about this is you can calculate, in a way, how many points does my position increase by making a move versus how many points the position will increase for my opponent. And basically playing a4, your position gets so much better. It's like an incredible improvement to your position because your bishop is going to be incredibly powerful, actually just by far. Well, I guess the other bishop's also incredibly powerful. So your two bishops are going to be by far the most powerful pieces on the whole board. Whereas black, black doesn't really have any move that improves his pieces by, let's say, many points. But this bishop is going to be like a 10-point piece.
Yeah.
So if you think about it that way, that's a kind of a heuristic.
That's a nice way to put it into numbers. Okay, yeah. So white did take. Black got to breathe a little bit here because
we saw this variation. Interesting.
He got his knight back, and after white takes and threatening mate, black was able to get rid of that annoying bishop.
And this is actually the exact variation that we calculated as well when we first thought about it, with a4 in the end.
Yeah.
Just to move order.
Just to move
like,
order.
Of course, you see that a4 is a good move, but it's just...
Yeah, this is another thing, is that when you're analyzing or calculating variation, and also White did have a lot of time. So there was enough time to actually look at this. And Rory is FM, I think, now. He got the FM title in at the ECCs.
I will say one thing. It's also, you have a bias in these kinds of positions to play active moves, just because you're trained, look for checks, captures, thread, all this. It's often, when you think, oh, I might have a knockout, it's difficult to take a step back and think, oh, I might have a quiet move that's actually crushing. So it's psychologically difficult when you see something like this. Just to take a step back and see if you can actually improve.
Yeah, so Rory is 2100 roughly rated. He's 2080, and Ross is 1831. So there is kind of a big difference.
Upset potential here.
Yeah, recently Rory got his F title at the ECCs, at the European Club Cup, where a lot of Irish people actually, a lot of Irish players got their FM titles.
The farmers go to farm is how we...
But...
Think about this. Farmers will farm.
So when you're thinking about a variation, this is also a strategy for when you're doing puzzles and tactics. If a line doesn't work, just change the move order, and a lot of the time it will give you a better position.
Yeah.
So here, that's very frustrating for White. He's going to be quite annoyed, I think, at himself after seeing this.
Okay, so now I think he played bishop a3 check here, didn't he? And then that was actually a blunder because, well...
Bishop a3. Okay, so here a4 was played, threatening bishop a3. Yeah, and Black played b5. White cannot take because of the rook.
You actually have a... No, I guess this doesn't work. I was thinking maybe you can tactic it out, even taking.
Okay,
oh yeah, I was actually thinking, what if you take with me first? But of course, this move order again makes a lot more sense, where you take now, and then you take the knight after.
Okay, so you're attacking the queen. Move order. But Black can, I guess, take. If you do something else, if you go here now, bishop h6 is strong because you can actually take on f6, exactly. Looking like you're giving away the queen, but the pawn is pinned. And now you actually get 2 pieces.
Yeah, and that's completely winning.
So material-wise, I guess it's still okay, but the king is so weak that...
But this is... Yeah, your bishop's coming in on e1 and York, sorry. And now that's just always going to be mate.
Yeah, so even if Black is up in exchange, the king's position is so weak.
So this is actually interesting to...
Yeah, White was
not play that.
White was able to take the pawn. Okay.
And this is like a fairly straightforward tactic, actually.
White was able to take the pawn. Well, I think this is more difficult than taking the knight.
But I think...
taking the pawn. Earlier.
Yeah.
With the knight e7 and...
Well, considering that it doesn't work, it is. Yeah, but it's true. But I would have thought that you're in the attacking spirit, that you're kind of looking for this kind of thing, because you need this pawn gone. Otherwise, your bishop a3 is never going to be, working.
Yeah, exactly. If you allow b4...
And now that's actually very strange, because what are you going to... What's the idea about bishop a3 now? Like, aren't you just going to have to go back?
Rook b1 was played. Okay, rook b1.
Oh, okay.
Sacrificing the bishop. What happens... if Black takes. Okay, so now the tactics are coming out.
So, okay, I guess that
was
Rook
b7 threatening mate.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually can't stop the mate. Let's say if you go here, there's mate here.
Yeah.
So there's 2 mates being threatened here, and you can't bring the queen back.
To come there. Right.
That's nice, very nice.
And you're also threatening bishop takes b4. So okay, so that doesn't work.
Okay, so he played rook e8, attacking the queen first. But now we have bishop takes b4, double attack, attacking the queen and the king.
Yeah, but this should not just be winning for Black, because after you take the bishop and you take the queen, you have too many pawns in 2 powerful positions.
Yeah. Even though Black has
Yeah, your pawns are just incredible. Like,
Black's pawns.
yeah,
These ones.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess these knights will become strong. Is the main thing.
Well, I mean, if you didn't have those C and D pawns, let's say you take the C and D, like all the, white C pawn and black C pawn and D pawn off the board, then I think white's good. I mean, probably even better. No, not better. Okay, not better. But maybe you're going to win the A pawn, I was thinking. But okay. Anyway, I think it's just that combination of the knights and the pawns are going to be very strong.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess the knights can also work together and attack.
Yeah, the rooks are actually very bad here at stopping these pawns because they're already so far advanced that it's kind of difficult to.
Yeah.
Like they sort of make the configuration of the rooks very awkward. Like they're going to find it hard to coordinate together.
Okay. Yeah. So here he played Queen D6 check. And now, after the king moved out of the way, he took the pawn.
With the rook, okay. And now
knight e5 was played. So...
yeah, I guess...
what is white threatening here? Well, white is threatening, I guess, rook b7. Yeah. So knight e5 was played here.
Now you can run away with the king after rook b7. So that makes sense.
Rook b7, the king goes back, and maybe he can tuck into h7. Yeah.
Eventually,
very nice.
Came alive. It all fell into place.
That is a crazy position, crazy game. What?
Yeah, definitely very entertaining. 95. I like the move. It's a nice way to solve your problems. I think practically. Rook e7 would have probably also worked, but this is nice. Yeah, we definitely have had some really interesting games. Do you want to maybe take a look at some of the others that we haven't looked at?
Okay, let's have a look at Ushin's game.
Oh yeah.
Ushin's playing here. Let's see. Okay, so we have
Sicilian, okay. Rossolimo. Actually, no, mind, just took closed. Sorry.
Okay, I really like White's position here.
Yeah. I guess Ushin should be rating favorite here.
Let's see. So Ushin is 2100 and Sergey is 1852. So yeah, like 200 points.
Yeah.
300 almost. 250.
Yeah, this is definitely a tough position for black. I mean, your queen's sort of awkwardly placed. White has a lot of space. And the F file is quite nice as well.
Yeah.
And central control.
Very nice position.
You're also gonna lose a pawn.
Yeah. So queen goes back. We exchanged.
Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. I was gonna thinking. Yeah. So what if we take back with the pawn? Is that a thing at all?
Here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of appealing to me.
Yeah, I also like this.